Now the key thing as you go forward is you've got to respect your audience, the people that disagree with you. Show them respect. That is the American way. That is, we talked about founding fathers, that's what they all did. They can argue and get upset and disagree with somebody, but they respect them in the end. But you have to do what I have to do, what we all have to do in all across this country is to know our audience and language accordingly as we're talking to different groups. And find your points of common interest as well. So this is the challenge. And to meet this challenge, the key thing here is emphasize the dollars and cents. Now, this graph, I'll walk you through it a little bit. I don't know if you can all read it. These are positive business triggers. I just went over some of them before, okay? We talk about top-line growth and profit. We talk about branding, competitive advantage, the risk mitigation that we find with insurance companies and bankers, employee productivity and employee enthusiasm and morale. These are big issues that can make a big difference in a company's financial performance. So we know what they are. These are the positive business triggers, and I say stick to these triggers. This is from Frank Luntz's book, Words at Work. It's also a political strategist. It's not what you say, it's what other people hear, and we have to recognize that. Now, in considering your audience, there are certain things that you want to avoid. Now, in the last 3 years, I've studied climate scientists. I used to pal around with a bunch of climate scientists, still do. I've studied it thoroughly, so I know. I know what the science says, all right? Now, here are some things, I call them exclusionary emotional triggers. We talk about this at Natural Capitalism a lot. These, if you don't hit these triggers, if you avoid these, you're not going to turn off the so-called green audience. But let's go around the loop here. Government rules. We don't want to talk about government rules. EPA is going to come and get you. You say to her, okay, we think your pursuit of the bottom line, the Milton Friedman approach to business, I mean, that's a great thing. But you know now, there's two other bottom lines that you should pursue. One is about people, and the other is about planet. How many seconds do you think you have left in that CEO's office before you're shown the door? We don't like talking about triple bottom line. Peak oil, that's counter to the idea of endless abundance of the American frontier. That's a tricky topic. And of course, we don't want to say global warming and climate change. Stay away from those. Stay away from political lightning rods. And here, again, referencing, I'll read it to you. It's a little hard to read. Referencing certain sources for your information that you give out to people is very important. You want to talk about Accenture or something that most people in business, particularly traditional business people, have respect for. You don't want to talk about treehugger.com. That you got your information from Treehugger. We had an incident with a very fine company who got stalled out in their sustainability because their green team was sending out emails once a week to everybody in their organization, 1,000 employees or close to it, and to let them know about how important sustainability is. And as they did that, they got a lot of resistance, and they couldn't understand what's going on. We're really doing this. Almost all the references came from a website called Earth 911. Fine website, by the way, fine organization. But the name got in the way, the language got in the way. Now, okay, I talked to you about the climate science. I know the truth, okay? I got it. I know you all get it about the science, probably, most of you. All right, so if I come forth and I know the truth and you don't. In fact, I'm going to say that those people who disagree with me and who don't know the truth, that I'm going to call them deniers and skeptics. Now, what do you think they're going to call me at that point? Some of these words come to mind, these phrases. You don't want to get caught in this. When we talk about words like movement and green have a negative connotation. Environmental, the word environmental. Let's talk about that. Think globally, act locally. We've all seen the bumper sticker. But the business case for sustainability and the economic case for sustainability has nothing to do with polar bears. So we want you to think local and act local. Think local in framing sustainability to certain audiences. And what that means is the quality of life issue here. When we talk about sustainability, we're talking about Colorado. We're talking about the farming in Colorado, the wildlife, our mountains, our outdoor recreation. We're talking to the hooks and bullets crowd, fishing and hunting, streams and rivers, our local streams and rivers, the Platte and the St. Vrain up north, Boulder Creek. Bring it home. Take it away from being a universal, uber global appeal. And seek results without argument. That comes from Kara Seeley, my associate here. I love this, this phrase. So you don't want to play this game, and it happens too often. Hey, I'm right, you're wrong, and I'm going to prove it. It doesn't lead anywhere. It goes nowhere. It's not going to advance what you would like to see happen in the world. And then you've got this other thing here. We talked about belief systems. You've got calcified belief systems here on the left, and you've got those myths. And then there's this tendency on the right for people, I'm going to change that belief system. I'm going to convert. I'm going to transform. We hear this stuff, these are transformational times. A lot of people don't like to hear that, okay? So what you have to do, like Ulysses, you want to steer in the middle here. You want to go through the middle of all of this. I've talked about business sustainability to hundreds of different businesses, mostly traditional. And this is how we start off. We're not here today to talk about science. We're here to talk about making money. And as the president of Natural Capitalism likes to say, the science is complicated, and let's drop it. Let's get on and start talking about your business. You want to influence your audience to do one thing. And this is the most important slide up here. You want them to take action. It's not about you, it's about them, and it's about them taking action, assuming you're taking action as well. Talking about the American values, let's look at those for a minute. For business, sustainability, there's a Harvard Business Review article about 18 months old now. It was really great, saying that the future for innovation in America is going to come from the pursuit of sustainability. Sustainability is the new gateway into American innovation. If we look at the solar, wind, biomimicry, all these other things that are coming together with sustainability, you can see that this can be the very important driver. Now, American efficiency. Everybody goes along with that, and I'm not putting up things that none of us that some of us here would say, that's wrong, I don't agree with that. Come on, we're all about American efficiency. It's an economic development opportunity, as I say here. And look at some of the icons that we have. We have Teddy Roosevelt, who really started the conservation movement, and the pioneer spirit. The military, Fort Carson, some of the things that are going on there are astonishing. They're far more sustainable than some of the most sustainable businesses and some of the things that they're initiating now. This imagery around Rosie the Riveter, American entrepreneurism, and American ingenuity. These are things that sustainability works with and is part of. Here's another approach, energy independence. Commodity price rise. We don't have to talk about peak oil. But every business person knows that prices are going up on everything. So let's frame it maybe that way. And not all fossil fuels are going to go away and going to be replaced with windmills and solar panels. So, give it up a little bit, saying, okay, it's part of the mix. If we talk about homegrown alternative energy, alternative energy. We don't want to talk about alternative energy. Some of us, I'm being a bit absolute here, but it's about Colorado wind and Colorado sun, not just some vague thing of alternative energy. Remember who we're trying to appeal to here. The ability to control our own destiny. That's a very American idea. Unfairness and trade imbalances with certain countries and certain situations are just wrong, and we all pretty much agree with that. Another aspect is freedom from the grid. This brings everybody on board to talk about this. And if you're in business, your future ability to export to countries like Germany, and this is me speaking, in 2 years from now, you may have a problem if you're not registering with the Carbon Disclosure Project, if you're not pursuing sustainable business processes and have a plan as to how to deal with your greenhouse gas emissions. You may not be able to export your product because in Europe particularly, and particularly Germany, they're starting to demand it of their supply chain, just as Walmart is, and we all know about that.